friends, welcome back to Belle's Library. I'm Heather, and today we are gonna get a little witchy. Very excited about this video. If you guys haven't seen anything about this, I am captaining a team for the Trick-or-Treatathon. I am Team Captain Magic. And part of the Trick-or-Treat-a-thon is that we have this bingo board going on, and each of the teams has to have a certain prompt. It's like their team prompt on their board. And so my team's prompt is Witching Hour, and it is to read a book that has witches or wizards in it. So this video is all about books that I've read and really enjoyed that have witches or wizards in it. Or some books are on my TBR that have kind of that witchy vibe going on and that I really want to get to. So it's a little bit of both. But I just figured I'd put this out here. So if you like witchy books, here's some recommendations. 1. 2, if you are on my team, Team Magic, or you can even have this prompt on your bingo board for the Trick-or-Treat-a-thon in any of the teams. It just has to absolutely be on your board if you're Team Magic. But it gives you some ideas for what to read for this prompt. So let's talk witchy books. Before we do that though, you gotta get down below, click subscribe. Also my Instagram and Goodreads are down there, so you can follow me and we can talk bookish on all of those lovely platforms. Let's start with, should we start with the TBR or should we start with ones I've already read? Let's start with ones I've already read. So I'll go through, I've got like, I don't know, five or six of each. So we'll start with the ones that I've read and really enjoyed, and then we'll move into the TBR of things that I might read for the readathon coming up, or just some fun witchy books I really want to get to. So yeah. Also, I will make sure to link the Discord, the Google Docs, and my announcement video for the readathon. So if you want more info, it'll all be linked for you down below. Okay, so I'm kind of going to start with actually an author because I've read a couple of books from her, and I know she just had a new book come out, and they're all kind of following witches and wizards. So I'm going to start with Zoraida Cordova. So this is the book that I own by her. It is Incendiary, and I really enjoyed it. I really want to get to the sequel. I think it's only a duology. At the end, I was just like, wait, what? I need to find out more. I was very invested in what was going on with these characters. We're basically following this girl. She has a very unique type of magic, but magic also is very suppressed in this world. Like you don't want to have it. And she ends up getting recruited by the king to work in the castle. So the king likes to keep one witch that has each type of magic, witch or wizard. I believe there's both in this world. With him to use. And so she's a young child when this happens, and she doesn't fully realize what she's doing at first, and then the rebels come in and they end up taking her when they leave, so raising her with them, and so she kind of grows up with them and becomes a part of the rebel group in here. And then she ends up having to go back to the castle as like a spy for them and pretend that she really didn't want to be there and she really wanted to be with the king. And so she's kind of playing this like double agent, but you're throughout the whole thing questioning all kinds of stuff going on, like who you can trust in the castle, who you can't. Yeah, it's really fun. There's a lot of really great political intrigue in this one, and I'm really excited. There's a little twist right at the end that kind of gives you a little cliffhanger, but you still have enough answers to where you're not like, I hate this because nothing got answered, but there's still like a little intrigue because you want to get to the next book. So enjoyed this one. She also, I read Labyrinth Lost by her. It's a trilogy. That one's really fun and witchy, and she just had a new one come out, The Inheritance of something. I'll put it here for you guys. But she's a good one to pick out if you are looking for something kind of witchy going on. Then we have Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. This is a trilogy as well. So in this one, we're following Lou and Reed. And Lou is a witch, and Reed is a witch hunter. And due to some unforeseen circumstances, they end up getting married. And Reed does not know that Lou is a witch. He keeps it hidden from him for obvious reasons, but they definitely have kind of this hate to love. They're stuck together. There's one bed trope is in here, and it's fun. They're, Lou, I loved. She's snarky. She's sarcastic. She's she's a very interesting character. She's very headstrong, but Reed's just like this soft, sweet marshmallow that's trying to cover it up by being like the head of the guard and, you know, this, that, and the other. But really fun kind of fantasy romance series. I didn't like the second one quite as much as I liked the first one, but I'm excited to see how the last one goes. So that's a couple of fantasy recommendations. The next one I have is The Invited by Jennifer McMahon, and this is more of a horror novel recommendation. We're basically following this couple, and they buy some land and they're going to build a house. And when they're there, they start kind of having some weird stuff happening to the house, and they're staying in a trailer out there, and there's just a lot of odd things happening, and they find out like the owner that sold it was also having weird things happening. And so the main girl in the relationship, she starts finding out about the history of this land, and it like goes back to this woman who was considered to be a witch in the town, and she got like hung while she was there or something like that. So you've kind of got this historical background of this woman who was a witch that lived on this land, and then also the present day timeline where they're kind of getting haunted, and there's some haunted vibes going on. So it's a really good one. And then back to some fantasy, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Ademi. I just finished that one a couple weeks ago, and this one is really great, and we're following, they're called magi, but so I don't know if it's necessarily witches, but I thought it was really good, and it has kind of a magical feel, so I threw it in here. We're basically following this world where one night all magic just like disappeared from the world, and all the magi were like brutally murdered and annihilated. So this one woman's daughter is trying now, it's like 8 or 10 years later or something, to bring magic back, and she has like one last chance to do it. And so we're following her journey as she's overcoming all these obstacles and trying to figure out how to bring magic back to this world. And so yeah, it's just kind of like a fun fantasy adventure type going on, but it's very intriguing, and there's great character relationships between people that you get really invested in and break your heart. So yeah, it's a good one. The next two that I have talked about are graphic novels. So I have Witchy by Ariel Slamet Rees, and this one we're following this girl, and basically in this world, the length of your hair says how much magic you have. So you want to have longer hair, but then also you don't, because if you have too long of hair, then you're considered a threat. And so yeah, we're following this girl, and she her hair is getting very long, and her dad was taken away from her because his hair was too long. And so we're following her journey, and it's kind of coming of age, and I don't know, her mom's a total badass in this book. I really loved her mom. So anyways, but yeah, that's a good graphic novel. Some cool pictures that I really enjoyed. I would say the only thing that like I didn't enjoy about this one was that it seemed like it ended in a place where there should be more coming, and I haven't seen anything that there's more volumes coming. So I'm like, can I get more? What's going on here? If you guys know, let me know, because I would like to continue the story. I feel like it didn't really like wrap things up very well. And then Mooncakes is another really fun one. I think it's Suzanne Walker is the author of this one, and it's following a witch and like a werewolf and their friends, and they have to like overcome something weird that's happening in the forest. It's been a little bit since I've read this one, but it's like set in nowadays, but with like these other slightly paranormal elements going on as well. And it's cute and it's fun, and you know, it's a fun little like graphic novel read. So check that one out. All right, so now let's move into some books that have witchy vibes that I really want to read. So more of my TBR possibilities here. I don't know if it's going to happen in the month of October or not, but at least some of these I'm hoping to. and then I'll just have to keep reading them. I really enjoy books that include witches, so if you have other recommendations for me that I can check out, I would absolutely love that, because going through and trying to make some recommendations for this, I realized I really just have not read enough books with witches. Like, I need more of this, for sure. Like, it needs to happen. But anyways, let's move along. The first one I'm going to put in here is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I love this movie. It's been way too long since I've watched it. I really need to do that this year. But we're following these two sisters, Jillian and Sally, and the Owens sisters, or the Owens family. All these women are always blamed for everything bad that happens in this town. For like 200 years, they've always been blamed for it. And Jillian and Sally, they are tired of it. They want to escape, and they're gonna do it. It says one will do so by marrying, the other by running away. But the bonds they share will bring them back almost as if by magic. So I actually did read the first chapter of this in my try chapter tag, and I am definitely intrigued, and I really want to read it and watch the movie again. So this is my first not recommendations, but my first TBR book. So the next one that I have is These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling, and this one is a YA, I'm pretty sure. So this is a YA fantasy in which we're following Hannah, and she is an elemental witch, but she also lives in our world and has to keep it quiet. She can't let the Rags know, and she has a coven, and during like the end of school year celebrations or something, there's a blood ritual that happens or something, and she thinks that there's like an evil witch. So she thinks that there's like this blood witch in town, but her coven doesn't believe her, and she has to team up with her ex-girlfriend, and they have to try and smoke out this blood witch and find out about her. So got some fun witchy vibes set in modern days with kind of a YA audience. I don't know, it sounds cute and fun. I like elemental type magic too. That intrigues me for sure. Okay, so the next book I have here is The Ravens by Cass Morgan. This one came out recently. It's also a YA, and basically we have this sorority, Kappa Rho Nu, and they are not only notorious for having really great parties, but secretly they are a coven of witches. And these two girls, Vivi and Scarlett, are looking to join them, and so I think we're following along with them too as they're trying to become one of these ravens, is what they're called within the coven, I believe. And so yeah, I don't know, sounds kind of fun. Another coven of witches, and I'm intrigued for sure. So a book that has been going around quite a bit, I feel like the last month on BookTube here, is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. Very intrigued by this one as well. So in this one, we are following Felicity Morrow. She's back at this school where she basically left a year ago because her girlfriend died, and now she's back. She's going to try and graduate, but there's also a lot of rumors and secret history to the school having to do with witches and covens and this Dalloway Five. So basically they all died one after another on the school grounds, and it's like this big mystery, but they're believed to have been witches. And so we're following Felicity, and then also there's a new girl who just started the school, and for whatever reason they seem drawn to each other, and they start investigating more into these Dalloway Five, and things seem to start repeating themselves. I also have an anthology here. It's called Toilet and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women and Witchcraft. So this seems to have a mix of stories, good witches, bad witches, evil witches, whatever you want to call them, contemporary fantasy, just a whole mix of different short stories that have to do with women and witches. So this sounds kind of intriguing as something that just maybe I could even find some new authors that I'm interested in. It is considered YA as well. I'm realizing that a lot of these books I've got on here are YA, so I may need some more adult witchy book recommendations from you guys. So next I have Sweet and Bitter Magic, and this is by Adrienne Tooley, and this is following these two girls. So we have Tamsin, and she is considered to be the most powerful witch of her generation, but then she commits a like the worst magical sin ever, and she's exiled, and her ability to love is taken away. So the only way for her to get those feelings back is to steal it from others, and it's only like a temporary fix. And then we have Ren, and Ren is a source. So basically she is made of magic, and when you have this kind of magic, you're supposed to immediately be started training with the coven, but she's been keeping it a secret because she doesn't want to be pulled away from her father, who is dying and needs help and caretaking. And so they end up meeting and making a pact, and basically Ren needs help saving her father because he's fallen victim during like a plague. And so Tamsin says she will help him, and then Ren's gonna give Tamsin her love for her father. Like they're gonna have a love pact kind of trade-off thing going on so that Ren can save her father, but I don't think things go fully as planned. The next one sounds amazing. The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. Basically, for centuries and centuries in this world, witches maintained the climate, and basically most witches like are attached to one season of the year, and when the sun when that season kind of starts, their powers grow during that season, and that's when they're the most powerful, and they can control that climate a little bit better. But now the weather seems to be getting more erratic and out of control, and everybody's kind of turning to Clara, because Clara is a really rare type of witch in which she is tied to every season, and basically she's like the last hope to try and get things under control. I don't know, it sounds really interesting, and it's got kind of this elemental seasonal magic. I don't know, it's kind of different the way that they're talking about the magic in this, and I just think it sounds really interesting. And the last book that we're going to talk about actually follows male characters, which is great. This is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, and in this one we're following Yadriel, and he wants to prove to his family that he is a real brujo, and he teams up with his best friend and his cousin, and they are going to summon the ghost of his cousin who was murdered and trying to set the ghost free. But something goes wrong, and they accidentally summon Julian, who is like the town's bad boy, but this ghost does not want to go back. He's not going to go easily, so Yadrian and Julian have to team up and basically work on both of each other's problems together to figure things out, and then kind of Yadrian, is it, I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry, Yadriel. So basically, he doesn't really want Julian to be leaving as they get to know each other more, and so yeah, I think there's a little bit of like a romance happening between the two of them, I believe. It sounds cute and adorable, and I am down for like some fun ghosty stuff. It's actually, oh my gosh, I totally thought of this. The Scaredy Cat readathon. I was looking at the prompts, and one of them is to read a book with a friendly ghost in it. This would like fit perfect. Oh, so cute. Anyways, that's all of the recommendations and TBR stuff I have for you guys that has witches and wizards in it. Would love to hear from you guys, recommendations or things that you're wanting to read that have these elements, and put, I don't know, is there some, like a witch's hat maybe down below? Some kind of witchy something, or a crystal would be kind of cool. We could definitely do a crystal emoji. Check it out, look around, and chit chat with me down below. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.